Give me 26 soldiers of lead and I will conquer the world. It is a press, certainly, but a press from which shall flow in inexhaustible streams through it. God will spread his word. A spring of truth shall flow from it. Like a new star, it shall scatter the darkness of ignorance, and cause a light heretofore unknown to shine amongst men. God suffers in the multitude of souls whom his word cannot reach. Religious truth is imprisoned in a small number of manuscript books, which confine instead of spread the public treasure. Let us break the seal which seals up holy things and give wings to truth, in order that she may win every soul that comes into the world by her word, no longer written at great expense by hands easily palsied, but multiplied like the wind by an untiring machine. Religious truth is captive in a small number of little manuscripts which guard the common treasures, instead of expanding them. Let us break the seal which binds these holy things. Let us give wings to truth that it may fly with the word, no longer prepared at vast expense, but multitudes everlastingly by a machine which never wearies to every soul which enters life. Quotes about Gutenberg. We can put television in its proper light by supposing that Gutenberg's great invention had been directed at printing only comic books. Robert M. Hutchins. It might be argued that genuine spontaneity is not really possible or desirable so long as printed scores of great works exist. All modern musicians are, for better or worse, prisoners of Gutenberg. Donal Hanahan. While learning to code may have once been an arduous or expensive process, the college dropouts who developed Codecademy have democratized coding as surely as Gutenberg democratized text. Anyone can go to Codecademy and start learning and creating code through their simple, fun, interactive window, for free. Douglas Rushkoff. Der Glaube an das Gedruckte ist seit Gutenberg einer der mächtigsten Aberglauben dieser Welt. Marcuse, Ludwig. Writers today must navigate the shifting verbal currents of the post-Gutenberg era. When does jargon end and a new vernacular begin? Where's the line between neologism and hype? What's the language of the global village? How can we keep pace with technology without getting bogged down in buzzwords? Is it possible to write about machines without losing a sense of humanity and poetry? Constance Hale. It was stone carvers in ancient Rome, scribes in the Middle Ages, all the way through Gutenberg to the present day. That's a pretty long track record. More likely we may reach a point where each one of us is a typographer with our own custom proprietary typeface. Michael Barut. Before Gutenberg, libraries were small. The Cambridge University Library had only 122 volumes in 1424, for instance. After Gutenberg, literacy became widespread. Larry Stone. We are in the middle of the biggest revolution in reading and writing since the advent of the Gutenberg press. Sarah Sheridan. The world of visual perspective is one of unified and homogeneous space. Such a world is alien to the resonating diversity of spoken words. So language was the last art to accept the visual logic of Gutenberg technology, and the first to rebound in the electric age. Marshall McLuhan. With the development of the Internet, we are in the middle of the most transforming technological event since the capture of fire. I used to think that it was just the biggest thing since Gutenberg, but now I think you have to go back farther. John Perry Barlow. The Internet has been the most fundamental change during my lifetime and for hundreds of years. Someone the other day said, it's the biggest thing since Gutenberg. And then someone else said, no, it's the biggest thing since the invention of writing. Rupert Murdoch. It's not progress to take books off shelves. If one more person says this, e-books, is the new Gutenberg, I will probably commit homicide. Because the whole point of Gutenberg was to put books on shelves, not to take them off. Jeanette Winterson. The quintessential exercise of free speech in a culture supposedly built on that concept and dedicated to it. The Internet's development is as historically important to humanity, perhaps even more so as Gutenberg, as invention of the printing press. L. Neil Smith. Incidentally, the usual designation of the magnitude scale to my name does less than justice to the great part that Dr. Gutenberg played in extending the scale to apply to earthquakes in all parts of the world. Charles Francis Richter. I'm called an oral historian, which is something of a joke. Oral history was here long before the pen, long before Gutenberg and the printing press. The difference is I have a tape recorder in my hand. Studs Terkel. The usual designation of the magnitude scale to my name does less than justice to the great part that Dr. Gutenberg played in extending the scale to apply to earthquakes in all parts of the world. Charles Francis Richter. Anyone familiar with the marvels of the World Wide Web can hardly fail to see that we have entered a new era in communications on a scale perhaps comparable to the invention of the Gutenberg press. Randall Marlin. The net's future is far from assured, and history offers much warning. Within a few decades of Gutenberg's creation, princes and priests moved to restrict the right to print books. Vint Cerf. In plotting earthquake measurements, the range between the largest and smallest magnitudes seemed unmanageably large. Dr. Benno Gutenberg then made the natural suggestion to plot the amplitudes logarithmically. Charles Francis Richter. I read more books for research purposes, whether it's a fictionalized biography of Johannes Gutenberg or a stack of urban fantasies. Jim C. Hines. The information highway will transform our culture as dramatically as Gutenberg's press did the Middle Ages. Bill Gates. I wouldn't be surprised if history records Tim Berners-Lee as the second Gutenberg. Jeff Bezos. Gutenberg, your printing press has been violated by this evil book, Mein Kampf. Friedrich Kellner. Gutenberg's invention of printing is the greatest event, the mother of revolution. Victor Hugo. I owe all my knowledge to the German inventor, Johannes Gutenberg. Mehmet Murat Ilden. Gutenberg made everybody a reader. Xerox makes everybody a publisher. Marshall McLuhan. Gutenberg and Richter were very great men. Frank Press. I betrayed Gutenberg for McLuhan long ago. Chris Marker. Gutenberg and Richter were very great men. Frank Press.